crazy few days, and I know I made my own solo video on the Hulk Hogan situation and everything, but the response, negative response, especially from black folks, it has been, to say the least, astounding. And most of it I noticed is from younger fans who probably didn't really know who Hulk Hogan was or didn't grow up with him. I would understand it more if it was from a fan like myself, who actually saw the beginning of Hulkamania or around it. But if you was one of these younger cats, or if you was a cat even my age or older than me that never really was a fan at all, but you got something snarky to say because of that, I kind of have to look at you sideways. And like I was telling my girlfriend Regina, who's actually sitting right here, like I was telling her, yeah, Hulk Hogan dead, F the racist. I said, yeah, and you still broke. Oh, Hulk Hogan, yeah, he's dancing in hell. I said, yeah, and if you don't get your soul right, you'll be right there with him. You know, that's just some sarcastic saying. I'm saying that to say this. How is putting this man down, or when he's dead, and going after his loved ones for paying tribute to him, or even fellow wrestlers who actually work in the business? And if anybody has the right to judge Hulk Hogan, it's those guys. Even more so than somebody like me, somebody like Regina, or any other outsider. They probably have more right than anybody. Like the whole thing I read about Chelsea, and Chelsea Green's admittedly is not one of my favorites, although I am entertained by her. I ain't gonna lie, she's a good looking chick. But honestly though, making death threats because she said something, and I read her statement. She said nothing wrong. She didn't say nothing out of pocket. She didn't overly praise him. And she acknowledged that he was controversial, and she acknowledged his racist comments were wrong, but she paid tribute to the man for his career. The same way some of y'all, and I don't want to get on this subject, I know he's come up a lot since this Hulk Hogan thing. Same way some of y'all still want Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame. Now, say what you want. Yeah, I felt some kind of way about him repeatedly using the N-word, something that I hate to say it, a lot of people in America do all the time, whether in public or in private, including many black folks. Not all of us, but a lot of us. And I'm like, okay, you can get over somebody calling you a racial slur and stuff. Just don't mess with them no more. Be like, okay, good. I see how you are. I see how you are. I just don't mess with you. You can get over being offended by somebody saying something racial. Just don't mess with them again. You can't get over being dead. And I ain't really talking about Hulk Hogan. I'm talking about Benoit basically unaliving his wife and youngest son. I mean, you can get over being offended by what somebody said. You can't get over being dead. You can't undo murder once you did it. Okay? But some of y'all fools still want him in the Hall of Fame, which ain't never gonna happen. And y'all tried to belittle and downgrade Hulk Hogan's career because of what he said. Did I like what he said? No. I've said many times, he kissed my rear end after I finished my business on the toilet. And I still say that to this, even now.
I wish you didn't know.
But come on, you can't take away from that man's career. Just like I don't take away, even though he's a freaking murderer, I don't take away what Benoit did in his career.
But let's be honest. Those wrestling fans are gonna know about what happened to Benoit. Not everybody knows what happened to Benoit. If you are not a wrestling fan, you're not gonna know who Benoit is. And the fact is, for those that have not seen or know anything about Chris Benoit did have a career, a very lengthy career in WCW. He also had a career in WWE. But now his legacy is kind of tarnished for the Benoit murders. Now, I got my stance on it. I'm not getting into that. But the fact is that after what he did, he was completely erased from the books. We will never hear from him again. Like, we will never hear about his legacy again.
He barely, I would say barely erased. And that's kind of why I was getting to. They could barely erase Chris Benoit. How you gonna erase Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, but
how?
now...
How? Whose career was way bigger.
But if you have Peacock and you actually do watch matches with him in it, they do give a disclaimer about anybody that's triggered from having Benoit on screen. They're going to acknowledge, hey, he's in these few matches. But when it comes to Hogan, he was never erased. He was, I mean, you can probably say temporarily, but he wasn't fully gone. He was still in the Hall of Fame. He was just muted. That's pretty much it. But the thing is, for those that actually grew up when Hulkamania was in his prime, grew up around seeing this man on screen, the thing is, I've been a wrestling fan since 1986. That's a long time, which shows my age. I was around when Hulkamania was huge, especially the fact this man had his own vitamins, his own mantra, his own cartoon show, movies, everything. This man brought wrestling into the mainstream. He took it Hollywood. And I'm not going to say he was the first, but he was the well-known one. Now, despite how everybody feels about what he has said, they're just words, y'all. And honestly, me and Irvin were talking about this at breakfast. Why are black people mad about him saying the N-word when it's pretty much in every song that rappers have known the man? You're hearing that every day, and it's to the point where there are some black people that actually use it as a term of endearment. Why? Then why are you so mad at this word if you're using it yourself?
Yeah, what turned me against Hogan was actually, you guys see the photo of him, the infamous interview with Amy Robach. And for those of you that don't know who Amy Robach is, look it up. Considering how Hulk Hogan allegedly felt about black people, this is so much irony. This is so much irony. Amy Robach interviewing Hulk Hogan. And some of the questions, you can tell there was a little bit of venom. I mean, she kept it professional, but you could tell there was a little bit of venom on it. But now we kind of know why.
But he's laughing because he's in the business to where he knows so much about these people. Let's be real. Nobody cares about T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach. Nobody cares unless you're in the business.
Look it up sometime, though, if you got spare time.
So look
but
up
anyway,
T.J. Holmes. Look up T.J. Holmes.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into it, but look it up sometime. But anyway, the interview, when he was talking about, you know, I apologize for saying it, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. I apologize for saying it, but, yeah, what was brought up, I mean, we used that word all the time. I mean, we used to greet each other with that word and stuff. And I'm like, in the freaking 60s, white people greeting each other with the N-word. I highly doubt that. And I highly doubt they were greeting black people with that word. There was probably more than a few fights if they did.
And plus, he's from Clearwater, Florida. So for somebody that's lived in Florida pretty much off and on for 9 years, everybody who lived down there know where Clearwater is. And anyone who's been to Tampa will have an idea on what Clearwater's like. I guess maybe I haven't been through the hoods of Clearwater, but I wouldn't think at all. And yeah, there are some racism down there. And it's mainly amongst people who are my color. And yeah, there are some people, they actually call, I think Sanford, like the Redneck Riviera. They actually do call it that. I'm not gonna lie. Quote me if I'm wrong for anybody that's actually from Florida, but I've lived down there. But anyway, the fact is that nobody is going to greet each other by saying that. Unless you have black people living where you're at and they accept you for saying that. But even other black people has told other black folks, if you got white friends, do not have them say that because it's going to ruin their lives. It's going to ruin their day. Don't even say that. But the fact is, we know that Hogan is a pathological liar. He has been caught in his lies so many times. It is ridiculous. Look. Even other wrestling, not wrestling fans, but the people he worked with in wrestling, they've even called him out on his crap. We know this guy's a pathological liar. And if he does hate black people, that's between him and God, because he's no longer here. And I pray that he came to resolve before that. Now, people like he became a born-again Christian, he was baptized and everything. I am not going to say that that's a bold-faced lie, because the only person that knows the heart of man is God. He's the only one that knows. I'm going to let him take care of that. But the fact is, for me being a wrestling fan, I really don't care at all if he hates black people or not. I still love Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea might be a piece of crap, but I actually still like Hulk Hogan. I still like his legacy. I don't want to forget his legacy. That's my choice.
No, and if you study this business or follow this business, you really shouldn't. Now, Pro Wrestling Bits had a video that she was big stone, but I actually liked. I actually liked the humor without going too dark, without going very dark with it. Shout out to that brother right there. The only part of it I took issue with was when he was like the cultural appropriation. Some of it I was like, yeah, you could argue that. But when he said he culturally appropriated the word brother, and I will say this to especially to anybody black that wants to go along with that, I'm like, no. I would advise you, look up interviews, look up promos from the 70s of a guy named Superstar Billy Graham, who died like a year or so ago. Look him up, or even look up Dark Side of the Ring, the episode they did on him not that long ago. If you look at how he carried himself, how he was built, and arguably he was even better built than Hulk Hogan was in his prime. He was huge and he had cuts and everything. But the look, the cadence of his promos and everything. Hulk, if anybody, Hulk Hogan, and he also used the term Superstar Billy Graham, live in living color, brother. He used the word brother a lot. And this was in the 70s. If Hulk Hogan ripped off anybody, it was Graham.
But think about it. There are a lot of people who have admitted that they have used Superstar Billy Graham and his gimmick. And even Hogan admitted that he's used it. Yeah,
it took him a long time to finally admit that, but yeah, he actually did. I mean, the two biggest ones was him and Jesse the Body Ventura, but Jesse has always been honest about it, though.
Jesse's been honest to a fault to certain points but he's been honest about the wrestling business as well as his career. Now, when it comes to Hulk Hogan, it's a given. He's been proven wrong so many times, for him being a pathological liar, for him, especially when he's been caught pretty much, when he's been pretty much caught on tape about how he feels about black people. And the whole Bubba the Love Sponge thing, I'm going to be real with you. I kind of feel bad for Hogan because he got...
Yeah. Now that's a guy that should be crucified as much as Hogan. Probably more so.
Bubba the Love Sponge is a piece of crap for what he did. Number one, who passes off his wife to get plowed by another man?
Exactly.
And yes, she's in the porn business. I will say that. She's in the adult entertainment business. But the fact is, you're passing off your wife for somebody else to nail. No, like, that's just something you don't do. The guy he's a scum. I'm sorry, the guy is scum. And what he did to Hulk Hogan was wrong. Whether you like him or not, it was wrong.
Yeah, that was messed up. In fact, he's the reason Hulk Hogan went out in infamy like he did. Because that same sex tape also had the famous racist rant on there. And here's another thing that nobody talks about with Hulk Hogan. Everybody goes in on him saying the N-word stuff, but think about it. He went into that rant right after he got finished plowing Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, and it was all really over his daughter Brooke. Because at the time, she's now married to somebody else, and she's recently had children with him. But she, at the time, was dating and allegedly getting plowed by this black producer's son, who was also black. And apparently Hulk Hogan felt some kind of way, which he was always weird about his daughter Brooke anyway, to the point of being creepy, quite frankly. To the point of being creepy. I mean, Regina may have a different opinion, but I personally was like, No, I don't even have kids. But there's no way I would be fawning over my child, my daughter, like that. I certainly, by a certain age, I am not rubbing lotion on her almost in private parts like that. No, he just got finished. If anything, shouldn't having, especially if it was great sex, shouldn't that be a stress reliever? Instead, you just got finished. Now you turn around and want to talk about your daughter and go on a racist rant. That no, I don't even think Dr. Phil could unravel that type of psychology.
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, there's to the point where if the sex is not all that great, you're gonna have another thing to talk about. I've been there, trust me. I've had boring sex before. But anyway, the fact is that yes, he loves his daughter. I was a little bit put off seeing him put lotion on her, but the fact is she was aware of it. They might have a relationship that we don't understand but seem creepy to us. The one thing that was off-putting to me is the second wife. His second wife looks just like Brooke. That was the thing that set me off to where this is absolutely creepy. Why would you marry someone that looks like your daughter? And everyone like, no, it looks like Linda. I'm like, no, it looks she looks exactly like Brooke. And I'm sorry, that was the only thing that put me off, was his second wife looked a lot like his daughter. And that's just kind of made me wonder, okay, what are you really thinking in your head?
But getting back to Bubba the Love Sponge, he's the one that really ruined Hogan's life, if I had to be honest.
The Gawker thing, because I think I think I just saw an interview, the fact that this man does not even pay attention to the tapes that he has locked up. He was like, I have all recordings going on every day. I don't keep an eye on who's in here. I'm like, dude, let's be real. You sold it to Gawker because you are just a piece of scum that needs money. Let's be honest. There's no way on this planet that your lifestyle can be funded by anything else but that. And Gawker was a huge tabloid at the time. And you can't tell me that he didn't sell that tape and sold Hulk Hogan out. That's the sad thing. And yeah, you might hate the guy. You might be, he deserves it. But I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you shouldn't have your business put out on Front Street. I mean, I had a similar attitude to when John Laurinaitis pretty much turned on Vince McMahon during this whole Janelle Grant situation. I pretty much had to say that too. Now, do I think Vince is a great guy? No. Personally, I think Vince McMahon's scum too. I mean, I give him credit for what he did for the wrestling business, even though he did some shady things there too. But as a person, no, the guy's scum. But for John Laurinaitis, who, in my opinion, voluntarily participated in some of those illicit activities while on the job, I might add. For him to act like, oh, I'm a victim too. I'm like, Vince, I don't know if he got the energy left in that 80-year-old ancient body of his, but Vince should knock the crap out of you for that, dude. For real. No, you did the dirt with him, you go down with him. You want the definition of a snitch? That is a snitch. A snitch is not, let's say, the neighbor seeing something wrong and telling the police about it. No, that's not a snitch, because they were not involved in the illegal activity. They were not involved. They were just trying to protect their own house or whatever and protect their neighborhood. But that's not a snitch. What John Laurinaitis did, and by extension, what Bubba the Love Sponge did, that's a snitch.
I can't really say that Bubba the Love Sponge is a snitch. He just exploited him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much exploited Hogan.
Yeah, but the fact that you do and you allowed it to happen though, but then you turn around with the videotape, which I'm not even sure he even let the wife in on that she was on there.
No, and they're not even married anymore, and I think that he was scum for doing that. But then also what made it worse was the fact that Hogan probably didn't want to put out that he was dying. You had Bubba the Love Sponge on his podcast pretty much in every detail saying that he's on death's door. I do not think that Hogan wanted people to know what was happening to him. But Bubba the Love Sponge once again exposed this guy when he's on his deathbed. I'm sorry. He's more scum than anything Hogan has ever said for the decades he has been in the wrestling business. That's scummy. I'm sorry. He just wanted to probably just go out with his family in peace. But instead, he put it on the air. I'm sorry. The guy is a piece of crap. 100%.
Yeah, but for folks, especially black folks, that's going after, shall we say, that's going after folks that want to pay tribute or respect the Hulk Hogan, even just on the wrestling career. Like, I'm going back to the Chelsea Green thing. The Chelsea Green thing, and my girlfriend particularly has had some poignant opinions on Chelsea Green, especially the Tessa Blanchard situation.
Yep.
Which actually we're going to get into something about Tessa in a second. But even she was like, I can't say I really care for Chelsea Green because of what happened with Tessa, but she said that wasn't right. That wasn't right. She shouldn't get death threats for paying respect to somebody who did help the business.
No, I agree. And like you said, I'm not the biggest fan of Chelsea Green. She's starting to grow on me, especially when her whole U.S. championship run. She's starting to grow on me. I'm getting a small, eensy-beensy amount of respect for her. But what happened to her was just deplorable. Y'all gotta understand that people don't agree with you. They don't have to agree with you. They have opinions. They can make up their own mind and say whatever they want to say about a topic that they believe in. If they like Hulk Hogan, they like Hulk Hogan. If they want to pay respect, let them pay respect. Stop lumping all black people in a box, okay? The thing is, there are black fans like me that know that his legacy is great, but still know what he has done for the business, and they're still paying respect to him. Let them do that. They don't have to agree with you, okay? It doesn't mean that what you're saying isn't valid. That means that they don't believe in what you're saying. That means that they have their own opinion for it. Let them believe what they have to say. You know, just let them have their own opinion, in other words.
Exactly.
Don't go after them guns blazing and trying to make death threats or
trying to ruin their life just because they have an opinion different than yours.
Exactly.
I mean, and when I was getting back to circle it to Tessa Blanchard, she actually came out and made a statement. Even she admitted she was reluctant to. And given her own recent past, which still a lot of fans still follow her about, she decided to say it just say F it, I'm gonna say it anyway. Anyway, she gave respect to, and I'm sure she's probably gonna get negative comments, but at this point, I'm sure Tessa really doesn't give a crap either.
She shouldn't, because let's be honest, I like Tessa. I like the fact that Tessa has a lot of respect for herself. I like that Tessa knows who she is as a wrestler and knows where she wants to be in her career. I respect somebody like that. But the thing is, people are like, oh, she's a racist. Why? Because it's trending. It has nothing to do with their beliefs of her being a racist. It is all about the whole trend of being negative. That's just kind of what it is. Because the thing is, it has nothing to do with anybody else. Because the people that were involved in it, and I think it was La Rosa Negra, she forgave her.
And it was a long time ago. And that's kind of why she had beef with Chelsea Green for a while. Because Chelsea, along with another female wrestler, were the main ones putting that out there when it really wasn't their story to tell.
It was Sienna and also Chelsea Green. They were going at Tessa Blanchard on Twitter, and even Chelsea Green mocked her when she first made her debut in WWE. You know what the funny thing is about that? And people might say it's karma, but after that match, she broke her hand and she was out for months. All I'm saying is that Chelsea Green started a lot of shit with her and Sienna. Sienna actually she was forced to retire, and Chelsea Green, not that I wanted this to happen to her, but Chelsea Green ended up injuring her hand after her debut, and she was gone for months, which really affected her career. The thing is that they were starting shit because, let's be real, in the wrestling business for women, it is the most competitive it has ever been, and they're always at each other's throats trying to take each other out because somebody wants to be on top. Not everybody can. So they're going to make sure that they gut you, they cut your legs off to where you can't get back up again. And sometimes that turns around and bites them in the butt. And And that's kind of what happened to Sienna. That's kind of what happened to Chelsea Green at the time. But now she's the biggest thing going.
Yeah, and as far as I could tell, though, people, and I'm sure there's going to be people that's going to go at Tessa Blanchard, but nobody's going after her nearly as hard as Chelsea Green. Although the Chelsea Green reaction is ridiculous. I mean, death threats. I mean, come on. But I do find that ironic and karma. Because I think the reason there haven't been a lot of fans that's gone after Tessa, because a lot of fans realize Tessa doesn't give a crap.
She doesn't, and she
doesn't give
anymore.
a crap.
And she shouldn't anymore.
So they know they're not going to get a rise out of her over that.
But it's to the point where you got so-called fans going after fans paying homage. He's done a lot for the business, whether you like him or not. He has done a lot for the business. He has put WWF in the mainstream. He gave them a name outside of the genre or the niche that they were in. He was one of the pioneers. So we gotta give him respect where respect is due. Yes, he is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers because he put it in the mainstream. He took it to brand new heights and gave the goal and actually helped Vince McMahon reach his goal to make it mainstream. That's what he wanted. So even if you don't like the man for some of the things he said, you gotta pay respect for his career. He's earned it. He deserves it, and he's earned it, whether you like him or not.
So I mean, we could go on and on about this topic, but we wanted to put the opinion and the balanced symmetry of a black man and a black woman on who are wrestling fans, how they feel on Hulk Hogan. Me personally, Terry Bollea, piece of crap, but Hulk Hogan was a legend. I'm not going to ever take that, and I've said this to even white people. Screw Terry Bollea, but I will never take away from his career as Hulk Hogan.
I'm not going to necessarily say screw him because I don't know what conversation he had with Christ before he died.
That's the one thing I did also go on to say as of this. That's the one thing I did go on to say. I said, you know what? All the thing I'm going to say, I'm not going to lose sleep over him dying, but at the same time, I'm not going to celebrate his death. I will only say, I hope he made peace with the Lord before he left this world.
I hope he made peace with everybody he's wronged, and I hope that he made peace with Christ before he got taken on. And all these memes and stuff, all this hateful stuff that you see online about him being pile drived into hell. And I'm just like, look, y'all.
Yeah,
I know you guys want to have some sort of 15-minute clout for people to notice your name and for you to get some type of notoriety, but not at the expense of somebody not here. That's just disrespectful for anybody. That's just me. Even though he finds it funny.
I'll admit, a couple of them I kind of did. Especially the one on Randy Savage. I won't lie, I did chuckle a little bit on.
I don't think that Randy Savage will jump into hell to go after Hogan. I don't think he would do that.
Well, maybe not him.
Not towards the end of his days. He moved on with his life.
Maybe not Randy Savage. The Iron Sheik might have, though.
I mean, but not Randy. Randy wouldn't do that. He kind of found his peace with everybody before he passed.
But yeah, one of the strange ones was the New Jack one. Before we get off here, let's wrap it up with this one. One of the strangest ones was the New Jack one.
New Jack waiting at the gates of heaven, waiting for Hogan to beat the crap out of him. I'll say this. For anyone that created that meme, if New Jack, that literally actually had attempted murder on 2 people and actually stated that on the air that he was going to kill them because they went too far. And not only that, didn't he almost kill like a 17-year-old boy?
The mass transit incident.
Although that was mass transit's fault for lying about his age. I get it, but the fact that New Jack nearly killed the guy. And not only that, he almost killed a guy in a scaffold match. So
it was Vic Grimes. So Vic Grimes, because of something that happened at the a stunt that went wrong on one of ECW's last shows before they went out of business. So years later, keep in mind, this was years later. Like this happened in 1999, and this was like 2002, somewhere in there. this is like almost 5 years later. Later, he decided. I mean, I thought I could hold a grudge, but good.
No, he held a grudge for
no,
years.
I would hold a grudge. I just want to cuss him out, maybe smack him, maybe beat the crap out of him, but I didn't want to kill him.
He honestly wanted to unalive this guy, but my point is My point is this: for anybody that's saying that New Jack is at the pearly gates waiting on Hogan, y'all don't need to say nothing about Hogan, because that means that he deserves to be up there too, especially if New Jack almost tried to unalive 2 guys and admitted why. He attempted murder, y'all. So if y'all gonna make that mean, have him at the pearly gates waiting on Hogan.
Yeah.
Y'all don't need to say nothing about Hogan, because that means they both belong there. So what? Create something else different.
Yeah, so, and then again, you got people that still big up Tupac. You got people that still big up R. Kelly, and they were very complicated people too.
The point is, y'all need to move on. Find something else to really get mad at. Get something of substance.
I don't know.
Mad at.
I don't know. Be mad at these terrorists messing up the money in the United States.
Be actually mad at something that is affecting you. Hogan saying the N-word, when we hear the N-word pretty much every day in every rap song known to man that is actually done by a black person.
Modern rap songs.
Alright, fine. Modern rap songs. Not so much in the past, because the Sugar Hill Gang kind of proves that you don't have to use that type of profanity as well as Kid and Play. But modern day, and yeah, I'm saying Kendrick Lamar, because y'all actually know that he has said the N-word multiple times, even on the Black Panther soundtrack, would really irritate me.
Yeah, which irritate, and I could tolerate some stuff at times, but that even got to me, because I was like, dude, really? That's why probably the only song I'll play off of it is Pray For Me with, and let's call it, even though Kendrick Lamar is credited with that, it's the Weeknd song. It's the Weeknd song.
I guess the point that we're trying to make without going too far is the fact that y'all are getting mad over things that we already do from day to day. Well, not we. I don't really use the N-word.
No, I rarely. I beat myself personally. And I just feel like sometimes when some white folks say, well, if y'all want people to stop saying it, y'all need to stop saying it. And I have a whole rant that I could go in on with that, but I'd be like, here's an idea. Why don't you go say that to the ones that are saying it like it's their last name?
That's
right. That's right. That's right. You might end up on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah, that's something that bothers him. But honestly, we have a whole different perspective on that. But the thing is that if it was a black person saying the N-word, y'all wouldn't care. If it's Hogan, y'all gonna be up in arms. That don't make no sense. Make it make sense, y'all. The fact is, the man's no longer here. He can't say any of these words no more. And I know people are like, well, we're trying to have fun. Why have fun at a dead man's expense? He's not here anymore.
Yeah, you wouldn't, unless say you had a beloved cousin, or I'll go get even more personal. What if it was your mama or your daddy or your grandma and granddad who probably does the same thing? Would you want people talking about them, but you love them anyway? Would you want people talking about them after they died? Would you want people going after you if you try to pay tribute on your Facebook page or on your Twitter? Would you appreciate that? And people might try to blow me off or blow off what I'm saying, but...
And you're entitled to your opinion if you don't agree with what we're saying. You guys are entitled to that. And we respect that. But we're not going to go after you guns blazing because we disagree. We're just going to respect the fact that you guys don't agree with what we're saying. We're not going to try to take you down or eliminate you or discredit your name. That's just kind of what everyone's doing with Hogan. And it's petty.
It's petty. It's kind of sick. I am not going to spend time trying to dumpster dive to find out stuff. And let's say, for example, try to call that person's job. Talk about they should be fired all because they had an opinion different than yours.
And it's that petty nature that needs to end. And yeah, I'm actually directing this out to black people. I'm gonna get heat for it. But you know what? I'm just gonna straight up say it in the most respectful way I can think about it. Y'all keep saying in every video I have seen on Instagram, I don't even watch TikTok and I'm not going to. But the fact is, on Instagram and on YouTube, I keep hearing all of these black creators keep saying we gotta be better. Let's stop saying it and actually do it. Let's not have things, these petty things that will not affect us from day to day, be the one thing we rage about. Why don't we just focus on things we really do need to focus on and not try to eliminate people for having an opinion? Just be respectful.
Yeah, and those that try to use cover, like, well, when Martin Luther King died, and which is ironic because some of the ones that are saying it are also the ones that wanted him erased because they found out he may have cheated on his wife, Coretta, which probably a lot of cats have did back then and probably still do today. But getting back on point, they want to say, well, when Martin Luther King died, all these white folks was celebrating stuff. And let me say, that was wrong too. That was wrong on them. And let me tell you, you never know. Years went down the line before they left this world. They might have changed and apologized to the Lord. Maybe even apologized to the King family. I don't know. But the ones that did and were unrepentant about it, they're paying the price. Most of them are probably not even here now. And if they are here, they old as crap, and they probably ain't going to apologize at this point. That's going to be between them and God. But what does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with your own soul? That's why I chose not to go in on Hulk Hogan like that. I mean, I acknowledge what I said about him in the past. I do not apologize for it, but at the same time, I'm not going to celebrate his death because at 50 years old and the way my life has changed, I won't go into how it's changed, but the way my life has changed, I got too much other positive stuff going on and potential positive things coming my way to waste my time and energy on somebody that I've never even met, that I still have my poignant opinions on, but I'm not going to waste my time trying to bury his career when his career was probably one of, if not the biggest. I mean, the length of time that he held the WWF title, unless you're talking about like Roman Reigns, you really can't find nobody that's held a title that long, like 5 years. You have to go all the way back to Bruno's day, Bruno Sammartino. For those of you wondering who I mean, you have to go back to Bruno Sammartino's day to find when a championship was being held that long, continuously and actively. No, I don't really count the Fabulous Moolah, even though she allegedly held the women's championship for 20 years. It wasn't defended that often, so I don't know if you can really count that. But Bruno was pretty active with the WWF title at the time. And that's the last reign you could say that was like long. It was like 7.5, almost 8 years. 8 years. I mean, Hulk Hogan holding his for 4 years. 4 years was a long time. I mean, the most recent example you can find, like I said, Roman Reigns holding the Universal, which became the main WWE Championship. He held it for what? 4 years and change.
Yeah.
4 years and change. So yeah, I will never take away from that man's career. I'll be honest, when I look on Peacock, once in a while when I want to look at some old wrestling, I will still look at one of his matches. And for the record, even though I think he's a piece of crap murderer, Chris Benoit, I still look at his matches sometimes. Because I can appreciate what a great wrestler he was. Do I like the person? No. But can I appreciate that he was a great wrestler? Yes. Same thing with Hogan. If I give a guy like Benoit that grace, why can't I give Hogan that grace? Same grace when it comes to watching wrestling.
But we're wrestling fans. We are wrestling fans. We've been wrestling fans. He's been wrestling fan probably since the late 70s. I've been a wrestling fan since the early 80s, probably early to mid 80s.
Well, actually, we're about to, because I really didn't start watching wrestling until December of 1984. Yes, I even remember the month when I started.
So he's about he started watching wrestling 2 years before I did. I was 6 years old.
And as I always say,
well, coming close.
And I watched WWE first. It was when they were on TBS during the Black Saturday era. And then when they switched back to Jim Crockett in the NWA, I was like, whoa, what's this? What happened to WWE? But then I started watching it for a few minutes. I was like, I kind of like this better.
Yeah, I know.
I kind of like this. This is basically the butt whooping wrestling.
Yeah, he liked that kind of wrestling. Well, I know he liked that kind of wrestling. But the fact is, for wrestling fans, the wrestling fans are aware. Like, and I hate to say the word true, but let's be real. If you are an honest wrestling fan that likes wrestling for what it is, you are aware of the greatness of Hulk Hogan's legacy. You are aware of the fact he's a pathological liar. You are aware of all the hijinks and everything he has done, especially with the travesty that he did in TNA. We are all aware of that. But nobody is going to take away the legacy of this man, of the things he did throughout his career. Wrestling fans are going to acknowledge it. They're going to acknowledge that and pay respect. Him as an actual person, Terry Bollea, we are separating that from his legacy. Just like how people do the same thing with R. Kelly. Yeah, yes. Put it out there. Same thing for R. Kelly. People are separating the man from the actual performer. Even with Diddy, they're doing the exact same thing. They're separating the man from the performer.
Bill Cosby. They're separate.
Bill Cosby too. And the funny thing is, interesting thing is, they're all black. And we are separating the two. We are not acknowledging what he has done as a man, but we are acknowledging what he has done as a character, as a performer, anything. We are separating the two.
Yeah. I mean, even cats like, let's say, some non-black ones, Michael Richards. People still watch Seinfeld, even though he had that fall from grace with that racist rant he went in at the comedy club. Look at Liam Neeson. Even though he even said it happened when he was young. It wasn't nothing that happened recently.
Yeah.
It happened when he was young. But how many black people went after him? Went after him over something he did like 20, 30 years ago. I mean, if it was something he did recently, that'd be something else. That would be something else. But he didn't do that recently.
And if anybody in the comments state this, and this is just a rebuttal if someone does state this. Yeah, our parents, our great-grandparents, when they fought for something, they fought for something. Like my parents, they were around the times of protests. The protests for civil rights. Because if you were in the 50s or the 40s, you had to deal with a lot more than what we're dealing with now. They had roadblocks, things that prevented them from living and making money and earning. They had to fight hard to be acknowledged as human at the time. That's why they had to fight. That's why they protest. It seems to me that everybody's protesting to get noticed. It's not even for the actual subject that they're fighting for. It's just to get noticed.
Yeah, kind of like BLM. Even though I think BLM started out good. I think it started out with good intentions, but it ended up getting hijacked, and it was more about people getting noticed.
I don't even want to get into BLM.
And I don't care. Put your subject, lives matter. Black lives matter. Blue lives matter. All lives matter. All these other groups basically was just trying to get noticed. It became a big mess at the end of the day. Or the term woke, when it wasn't even what the word meant. It just simply meant stay aware, but it ended up getting hijacked.
It did, and in my opinion, the people that created the movement should have showed some type of responsibility and accountability for it going awry. The same exact thing for the Me Too movement, and they should have actually held themselves accountable for it going awry. But despite all that, you don't have to piggyback off the backs off of people who are fighting for something. That doesn't, I mean, it won't, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you're not worth anything if you're not fighting for a cause. You're still going to be contributing to some sort of, I'm not going to say machine, but you're still going to be contributing in a different way, even if it's not as loud as you think it should be. But don't piggyback off of people that fought for you, and they actually had to fight for a reason. Martin Luther King had to fight for a reason. Well, you can probably say Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth had to fight for a reason. Everybody in our past in Black history had to fight for a reason. You can even say Rosa Parks to a certain extent. The fact that she refused to move because she was just tired of having to be forced out because of how she looks. The thing is, do not piggyback off the past. Just find out who you are in the present. And just stop piggybacking. And stop trying to find a quick significance, because that doesn't represent you.
Yeah, or maybe trying to start a conversation with somebody. And yeah, I'm talking about, let's just say it was a family member, you know, that actually messaged me the day the Hulk Hogan thing happened. And I wasn't really thinking about it too much, even though I did see it on the news. I was just, he messaged me saying, oh, I see your favorite racist wrestler Hulk Hogan died. And I thought to myself, dude, you're not even a fan. You're not even a fan of wrestling at all. Oh, you always told me about how fake it was and stuff. Why are you even talking to me about this subject? I'm like, really? And I'm, like I said, I said family member. I'm not going into who it was or anything. But needless to say, I just found it annoying when all he had to do was just call me straight up and be like, hey man, you heard about that dude Hulk Hogan dying? What you think on that? That's all he had to do, and that's all he had to do to start the conversation. And I just would have been honest with him and everything. But instead, he used it as the way not only to needle at me, but to basically take another dig at pro wrestling. I've never seen a guy, and never saw a guy that was not a fan, was not even a fan, shouldn't even have anything wrestling related in his mouth. Why would you even do that? I mean, that's just, and keep in mind, his family member is way older than me. He's like 20, 30 years older than me.
We've already talked about that. I'm not going to get too much into that. But the thing is, if you are a wrestling fan, you know about the pitfalls, you know about the lies, you know about the constant clout chasing, you know about him covering stuff up, you know about what happened in TNA. Everybody pretty much knows what happened if you are a wrestling fan, but no one is going to take away this man's legacy and trying to downgrade him, because we know what he's done, and there's enough evidence to prove it.
And just like we was talking about other, tried to get colored up, but they're going in on Hulk Hogan. Like we mentioned Cosby, we mentioned R. Kelly, I mentioned Tupac.
You can even mention Martin Luther King to a certain extent.
Martin Luther King. But that doesn't take away from the legacy that they have done.
Right.
Now, that's one thing I with all four, even Kelly. And I think Kelly's more disgusting than any of them we named. Even Hogan.
And he's in jail. He ain't getting out.
Yeah, but one thing I will never take away from R. Kelly is his music legacy. I don't think anyone else should either. Same thing with Bill Cosby. You can't take away from his legacy in comedy. And the significance of the Cosby Show and its spin-off world on how it inspired a generation of young folks, especially young black folks, to think about education, to think about something higher, to think about something better.
Not to mention the black family that that Cosby actually put on the air for the Cosby Show. They were upper class, probably maybe upper middle class, living in Brooklyn. They actually had money.
It did change, because look what came after that for a while. The black family that was shown shown her middle class to upper middle class. Look at Family Matters. Look at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Look at even In the House, even though it was about a bachelor played by LL Cool J.
You can even say Living Single too.
Yeah, look at Living Single. Look at even Martin. I hated Martin.
Martin, Girlfriends.
Yeah, look at Girlfriends.
You can even
look at Moesha.
Yeah,
look at The Parenthood, Robert Townsend's show, which was almost a copy of the Cosby Show. It just put a little more edge in there, but
yeah, like there were a lot of black sitcoms that showed that they didn't always have to be good times. Nothing against Good Times. That was a good show. And honestly, and in my humble opinion, it was inspired by Raisin the Sun, which is probably one of the best plays I've ever seen, or even the best books I've ever read. It was probably inspired by that, but it showed the Cosby put out there, in my opinion. And people argue that the Jeffersons did it before him, and if they did, I can't argue that. The thing is, they show that black people are more than just being poor and living in the hood, that they can actually have something and grow a legacy, or at least grow, I don't know, like grow a business, make wealth. There's a lot more to that. They can go outside that box. So we can't really take away that type of legacy. We can even go back to the wrestling business. When it comes to Hulk Hogan and what he's done, it's like wrestling is more than just a carny event. It's more than something you see at carnivals. It's actually mainstream. People who are not even wrestling fans get interested into it and start watching it. That's why WWE makes so much money, because they got more casual fans to become hardcore.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I know we veered off, but I hope you got the subjects we did veer off to. I hope you got how it relates to how people are acting to Hulk Hogan. I mean, at the end of the day, you have the title to feel how you feel, but we basically are saying respect how other people feel on it, especially other black people feel.
Respect each other.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly
all we're saying. Like,
exactly.
We're not saying you need to praise this man. We're just saying respect people who don't agree with you. They're not going to agree, but have enough respect not to try to take them down if they do disagree with you. It shouldn't be a contest, y'all. We're all grown adults. At least those that are listening, I hope that we're all grown.
And going back,
y'all going there fine.
and going there like on Diddy. I personally cared for Diddy. Personally, I do think he's scum, and I think he has done what he's accused of. But can I take away from his music legacy because of that? No, I can't. I mean, the man did way too much as far as that. I mean, everybody you love, even people in your own personal circle, has done something messed up. At some point. And I guarantee you probably love them anyway. And if they died and people came after them, you would be having a fit. But not because you don't like Hulk Hogan, that gives you the right to go after his loved ones, his friends, his family. I mean, cats like, let's say, Brooke Hogan, his daughter, even his son, and personally I think Nick's a piece of crap, but even his son Nick, or Jimmy Hart, who, if I felt bad for anybody when Hulk Hogan got booed out of the, I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. I felt bad for Jimmy Hart, though.
I'm not gonna lie.
I felt bad for him because he didn't deserve that.
For those that, I actually put a short up on him getting booed out the building, and I laughed. I chuckled. That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny at the time.
Yes.
It was funny at the time.
Yes. Do I feel bad about it now that he's dead about doing that? No. I still don't. I still don't, because he deserved it at the time.
That thing was funny. It was funny because of how it was set up. But I'll just say this. For the black community, instead of just saying, and yeah, I'm gonna outright say it because y'all know how much I can't stand Sam Wilson. And I mean the new, I'm gonna call him Captain Falcon because he kind of is Captain Falcon. The fact that when he was in Falcon when the Winter Soldier, he was telling the senator, "You got to do better, Senator. You got to step up." And yeah, I'm mocking that because it was incredibly funny and very stupid. And that was a really terrible show. But anyway,
Well,
instead of us saying that we need to step up and always saying we need to step up and do better, can we just start doing it? Like actually doing it, taking the steps to do it as a community. I am tired of hearing people saying we gotta step up and don't do it. Actually do it. If something is petty, leave it alone. If you have no idea about this person, leave it alone. Don't chase clout. Clout lasts only so long. It is not anything permanent. It will disappear within 15 minutes. If you want to do something for the black community, do it. But if you want to say something that you believe, say it. But then also stand behind it if that's something you believe in. But if you want to step up and be better, especially as a community, let's just do it and just stop saying it.
yeah, but yeah, I think this video's gone on long enough. Yeah, I know you're gonna have your opinions, and I'm sure I will see them down in the comment section. But I hope you listened, whether you agreed or disagreed, and I hope you got a little chuckle or two along the way.
And just be respectful in the comments. Don't try to burn anybody that has a different opinion, and especially don't go after Irvin for his opinions. Just be respectful, and please just have a comment that's respectful. Don't try to be greasy. That's all that I'm saying. Just don't.
All right, well, I'm out. I got other things to do. See ya.